Hey, I'm waiting for you. When you gotta work with talent such as this, guys.
Whatever.
Hey.
Hey, what's up?
What's up?
Hey everyone. What are we doing today?
We are doing the inaugural dish into your childhood favorites.
True. We are making, I don't know what to call it, steamed pork patty.
Okay.
I know it doesn't sound great.
Say
but
it in Cantonese and you'll be golden.
Jing yok bang,
Boom.
which translates into steamed pork cookie.
It sounds
It's
exotic.
definitely not a cookie.
A meat cookie. Hey, there's nothing wrong with meat cookies.
It's essentially a pork patty that has been steamed. And when we were kids, it was one of our favorite dishes. And when we have a favorite dish that has lots of sauce left in it, and with bits of meat and leftovers, not leftovers, but like just little bits left in the dish, we'll always call dibs on that plate so that we can have one last little scoop of rice and to soak up all of the sauces and the little bits of meat still around the dish.
You guys would fight over stuff like that?
Yep.
My brother and I are like, yeah, I'm good, I'm full.
Yeah. You guys would never starve.
No.
In our household, there are probably starving kids
Yeah.
because only one person would get dibs on that last dish. That last dish.
We're creating a whole new language here, folks.
Yes, this dish is one of my brother's favorite dishes. And I am using a pound of lean ground pork. And I bring up my brother because he would not like it made with ground pork that you can purchase. He prefers that my mom cuts up the pork and chops it by hand, which is the authentic way of making the pork patty. And you know me, I ain't got time for that.
Yeah, I know you.
But I believe it does make a difference in the texture of the meat. But we are going to work with what we have.
Like we always do.
You know, I have to say, I bought this from the Chinese market, but I have purchased ground meat from a Korean market, and the texture is different. I think it's probably closer to like hand-chopped meat, like hand-chopped ground meat. We have a pound of lean ground meat. Not lean ground meat, just lean ground pork. Has to be pork. Starting off with a tablespoon of soy sauce. And I'm just eyeballing, but you're welcome to measure. About a teaspoon of kosher salt. One teaspoon of Shaoxing wine. And if you don't have Shaoxing wine, just use a cooking wine or any wine. Just 1 teaspoon, you don't need very much. Or omit it altogether.
How about bourbon?
Sure, use bourbon. I don't know. 1 tablespoon of sugar. And I have ground white pepper. And I'm just gonna give 2 really good pinches. And about half a teaspoon of sesame oil. Now you're going to mix the meat, but only in one direction. I don't know how that's going to work.
One direction? Do tell, Flo.
You know, I asked my mom once why it has to be one direction only, and this is not just with this type of dish, but with all dishes that require stirring in the sauces. Like if you're making dumplings, you're only supposed to stir the meat in one direction. When I asked her why, Her answer was, well, if you go the other way, you'll undo everything. And I'm sure that is not true. How can you undo it? I did Google it to see if anyone had any scientific reason why you must stir in one direction, and nobody could say. I think it has to do with maybe over mixing. You don't want to over mix. So you have to mix until the texture is just right. That's what I think. So you see that it's all kind of coming together. I'm now adding a tablespoon of cornstarch. And if you don't like using cornstarch, you can use potato starch. Essentially, it will give you the same results. And I don't know how to explain what the cornstarch does in English. It makes it more wat in Chinese, which means a smoother texture.
Yeah,
is that right?
I think that would be my translation.
All right.
The opposite of lumpy.
But I don't know how that can be. I think it has to do with the stirring. That's it. We're going to form it into a patty, and we're going to put it into this dish, which will also be the serving dish. I'm just going to put the pork in this dish that I know will fit into my 8-quart Instant Pot. I am using an 8-quart today and not the 6-quart, and it's because this dish will not fit in my 6-quart.
So what would happen if you used a deeper vessel container in a 6-quart with the same amount of meat?
I don't know, whenever this is served, it's always about, 3/4 inch.
Yeah, I've
Thick. I've never seen it like a thick patty, and I think it would be really dense if it was a thick patty. So we want it to be about 3/4 inch thick. So I'm going to press this in, and it will shrink while cooking, but we want it to be about 3/4 inch when we're pressing it into the dish. When you eat it, the texture makes a difference, right? You don't want some like hard to eat piece of meat that you're trying to chew through, right? So the meat should be fluffy and not like overworked. And when you're pressing it in, you're not pressing it hard down, you're just kind of pressing it down gently. There are different variations of the steamed pork patty. I'm just making the very basic type. My mom used to, sometimes she would crack a salted duck egg on top, and that would add a different flavor, or she would put salted fish on top, and that would also add a different flavor. Sometimes it's marinated vegetables, or what is it called? Is it like a pickled mustard? Pickled dried mustard? I don't know. The Chinese have a lot of different preserved vegetables and different things that you can add to it. Some people put the dried Chinese shiitake mushrooms, and some people use water chestnuts to add some texture. But again, we're just doing a real basic pork patty, and you can add whatever you want. If you want to make this in a 6-quart Instant Pot, I would suggest cutting the recipe in half and just doing a smaller one, or you can maybe stack 2 dishes in the 6-quart, but I don't have any stacking dishes that will do that. So again, I'm just making this in the 8-quart because this dish will fit in there. Okay, I'm going to put this on the trivet first and lower it in. I already have a cup of water at the bottom of my pot. I am going to use my little aluminum foiled handles.
And for all you Brits out there, I was in the UK with my mom a couple of years ago.
Last year, actually.
Oh, last year. And I was looking at a Land Rover Defender that I was admiring and said, yeah, you know, it's a lot of the panels are made from aluminum, right? And the guy looked at me, well, actually, a bunch of guys looked at me, heads cocked to the side. You mean aluminium?
All right. Putting the lid on, locking into place, making sure the sealing knob is on sealing. And we are going to pressure cook, which is my manual button on the 6-quart. And I'm going to decrease the time to 15 minutes. And that's it. It's still on high pressure? Normal?
Normal.
All right. See you in a little bit. Looks like it's dying.
It totally sounds like it's dying.
So once the cooking was done, I quick released it. And I'm taking this knob off because
Yeah,
sometimes
because it always falls down.
Ooh, looks yummy. Smells good. Oh, it's still bubbling. Oh, you're totally gonna burn your tongue on this one, dude. People have suggested that I use those like little mitts, but I find they are just not that secure.
I don't think you get that much dexterity using a big old silicone mitt. Whoa, this is scary.
That's kind of scary, isn't it? Are y'all ready for?
The taste.
Oh, brother.
You don't like that entrance? Dude, you didn't spoon me up any of the the pork cookie.
Spit it yourself.
This is bringing up some feels here, like nostalgic feels. So I'm glad that it produced a lot of sauce because I like to douse the rice with a ton of sauce.
But do you understand why now? Like that we would just call dibs at the end?
Well,
I don't know why.
I'm kind of mystified because if you guys were so like ravenous, there would be no leftovers. The likely story there, Flo. Ah, hot.
Again? Told you it was gonna be hot. Oh dear.
I'm glad you didn't add all the other things, whether it be mushrooms. No mushrooms ever. Sworn enemy of mushrooms. And the other stuff, maybe they're preserved vegetable, but just a straight up pork patty is just good. Texture is. God, sorry about that. We had some cops blowing by here with the sirens full blast. As I was saying before, I was so rudely interrupted by law enforcement, was that the texture of the pork patty is just right, not overly mealy, and well, it could be smoother, but you started off with ground pork. But it's pretty good. Next time we should try that Korean ground pork that you talked about.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
You know what? Now that I'm watching you eat it with rice, it would be very easy to do to cook the pork patty along with your rice. If you're doing it in the 6-quart, totally easy to do.
You mean like on different levels, you mean?
Yeah, like you can do the rice on the bottom, put your trivet on top of the rice, and then your pork patty on top of that.
So like a one pot.
Yeah, like a one pot meal.
Which you haven't done.
I only did the one with the broccoli and beef.
Oh, beef and broccoli.
Yeah.
On the road trip. Right.
Yep. And yeah, that's the only pot and pot one that I actually do. But this would work pot and pot. Not pot and pot, like a one pot meal.
So, great start to the nostalgic favorites.
Yeah.
Looking forward to the next one.
Thanks, dude. So this is not just a childhood favorite for me, but it sounds like it's a childhood favorite for you too, dude.
Yeah.
I wonder, does your mom make it the same way?
I don't know. I think she's got a Malaysian twist to it. Maybe with the preserved prawn paste. Is that what it's called?
Oh, yeah. I think, you know what? My dad would have liked it that way too. Shrimp paste.
Okay, shrimp paste.
Yep. So it adds a little bit of a pungent flavor to the pork.
It is so good.
Yeah.
Anyways,
All
that's
right.
for another recipe.
All right, everyone. So if you don't already subscribe, please subscribe to my channel. You can pick up my cookbook here and check out my other Instant Pot recipes there. Till next time, be simple, ordinary, and joyful.